So I've done various little bits and bobs, and started obviously working with young people within the care system and became a mentor. And coaching was something that I touched upon in 2012. Started the course, you know, life got in the way, got sidetracked. And then coming back to what today's podcast is about, which is about confidence and fear of rejection. I had imposter syndrome for a while and felt insecure. Why would people listen to me? You know, because I can be quite controversial at times with some views, and kind of doubted my own ability. And then kind of lo and behold, last year went on holiday and came back and did some various training, crash course in certain training areas. And lo and behold, I'm back finishing my studies and working as a life coach, which is great fun, as you know.
Someone here said, sing for us.
Sing.
Hey, no,
Oh, do you want me to sing?
Yes.
Love you. No, I'm not going to sing. You can check out some stuff online.
No, come on.
I'm just kidding. I don't really sing much anymore. I'm just shouting keys.
How can you do that to me?
Hello, Patricia. Is that Patricia? I love that name.
Why are you trying to avoid what I'm asking? You've got a beautiful.
You want me to sing?
You've got a beautiful voice.
Oh, bless you. So you. I might sing one day. I should, shouldn't I? I might just do that, you know. Like, you know, with this whole pandemic. Why are we waiting? Why are we waiting? Why are we waiting? Tell me, why are we waiting? I'm waiting to hear you sing. You want to hear me sing? No, Eve's the singer.
Started something, you might as well. This is part of like getting out of the comfort zone. This is what we do. We really push each other to get out of the comfort zone.
Yeah, make some people's ears bleed.
Somebody said, whoa, you've got a beautiful voice, Michael. Don't let anyone tell you different.
Thank you very, very much. And you have a beautiful face.
Oh,
you know, so we should get a group going. What do you think? We can drag in Michael. Laura's a producer. Miss Hagger down there, she's a producer. And then we've got Miss It Girl from America, Emilia. She's online at the moment. She could kind of plug us all over America. It'd be great fun. We could be called. We could have conscious lyrics. You know, it'd be good fun. It'd be good fun. So.
Okay.
So yes, to start off, I'm going to take the lead from you, my friend.
Yeah, so hi guys. Okay, so we're gonna get started. We're waiting for a few more people to come in. So today we're going to talk about fear of rejection. I'm sure we have all experienced it. I definitely know I have. And we're going to kind of talk about our own experiences in terms of the rejections that we've had, and in terms of like when you're trying to do something in life, and especially a business, or you're trying to get a job and you've been rejected in the past, it sets a kind of limiting belief in you, so you tend not to go for that thing. And this is not even with, you know, businesses and whatever, it's also with relationships. Sometimes we feel we've been rejected in some relationships, so we don't bother trying at all in other relationships. So we'll be touching upon that, and then we'll also be talking about how we can overcome those things. And we're going to talk about, here we talk about our own experiences. You know, we're very transparent, and yeah. So Michael, I'm calling you Michael now, Carl.
So I've been called worse. It's fine. I think it's interesting because fear of rejection and either being rejected from work or whatever, it brings about, or it triggers up old programs that we have, subconscious programs we have, some from childhood, some from certain situations we've been put in. And I guess, you know, if you've been said no to a job, or no to an audition, or even a relationship, it does tend to rattle our self-worth. And I think that you know, the use of positive affirmations, that's you know, something else, but using positive affirmations to stand there in the mirror and say, do you know what, I've got this, I am good enough and I am worthy and I do have something to say, is a good way to kind of counteract the balance of feeling unworthy. And I feel that every human feels that at times, and especially within the 21st century where we've got so much social media, it does, and you're seeing everyone's perfect life and their perfect house and their perfect drink and their perfect hair and their perfect skin. It can make, especially, you know, young teenagers who are very influential, it can make us feel pretty shit, to be fair. And we second guess our own existence. And I think that needs to be tapped in and looked at, definitely.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because, you know, before I started doing this, and it's something that I've battled with for a long time, I had like kind of like the fear of rejection in terms of like when I was thinking about starting the business. I was thinking, oh, who's gonna buy my product? And I was so scared of having that rejection, or just coming out and talking on camera like this, thinking, you know, who's going to want to listen to me? And even in relationships, I have been rejected, you know, and it's come from a place where I felt like I was not worthy of it. And it really does, as much as we want to act as if it doesn't affect us, internally it does, to a point where it can also affect our mental health. Mm-hmm. And don't recognize that. And it's funny that you mentioned something about the mirror. That's one of the things I started doing. And when I first started doing it, I was like, what is this? Like, it just felt, it felt so weird. Like, why am I
it's alien, isn't it?
Mirror every single morning saying, I am this, I am that, I am. In the beginning, it didn't have an effect on me. But then after a while, I kind of started to believe it. I said it so much that I began to believe it. And now, like, I just stand there and I'm like, you know what, I am, yes, I am this, I am that. And I really say it with conviction.
Yeah, it's a rewiring of your, because as everyone knows, I always talk about we are all energy, and I think, you know, our cellular structures hold information. And so when we, you know, we look in the mirror, and I remember I was told to do mirror work, and I was told to say I love you, and I thought, I love you, and I was like, I don't love that. And then you get dragged back into you know, the 3D. And so I think when you're trying to retrain your mind, the affirmations of I love you and you are worth it, and, you know, I am power, I am divine, you know, I am free, you know, whatever affirmations that you want to put out there, it can seem again disassociative unless you really want, until you've taken on board and integrated the new programs that you're kind of learning. Once you've gone through that, it's easier to then kind of bring other people up from your own experience. Do you know what I mean? It's interesting. Yeah. So
in terms of like the people who don't know about the mirror experiment, do you want to tell them
the mirror work
about that?
So mirror work is just another way to retrain your brain, and I still do it now. Have we never gone out to night clubbing or whatever? We've gone to dinner and we've all done ourselves up, and we look in the mirror and go, "You're looking hot." Do you know what I mean? And you give yourself the nod and go, "Yeah, you're fine," and then you go about your business. And I think to take a more structured approach is when you are feeling shit or negative or anxious about a situation, you can then kind of look to the mirror and say, I'm well, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, and name the things you love about yourself, and not coming from a place of ego, but coming from a place of spirit and a place of love. Because when you show genuine love, it's got a ripple effect. The same way as when you show hate, that's got a ripple effect.
Yeah.
But I think it's very important to, you know, to have an abundant life. And I'm not just talking about materialism. I'm talking about emotionally. You need to have gratitude for what you already have and for what you are. And I think that's very important to shout out and give yourself thanks for the body that you're in, for the way it works, the way it moves. And even if, excuse me, you've got some issues where you can't walk or you can't speak or you can't hear or whatever, universe will always counteract that with something that you have got. Do you know what I mean? So we can sit there and go, I'm too fat, or I haven't got this hair, or I've gone bald, or I've not got this. But we need to be focusing on what we have got, because when you're grateful and in a place of gratitude, therefore, you know, things can manifest from that place. If you're in a place of negativity and saying that I'm not worthy and I'm not good enough, guess what? You've just confirmed it to yourself, you've confirmed it to your body, you've confirmed it to your cellular structure and your DNA, and you're going to stay stagnant. You know, you've got to physically move yourself to move out of a place of least resistance. Sorry, from a place of low vibration to a place of high vibration. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Trust me. And I'm just like, yeah, oh my days. Yeah, so someone here says, GTM says, mirror exercise teaches you to look within and learn your inner self. And
absolutely,
it's very, when I first experienced it, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the point. My husband is the one who introduced it to me. And I was like, why? First of all, he put the mirror in the room, which I didn't need. It was just there. Look, every time I wake up, it's there. It's there staring at me. And until he used to tell me, talk to yourself, look at yourself. And I'm like, I would
own yourself and own your light, own your power. Yeah.
I was like, I'll stand there and I'm like, oh my goodness, my nose is crooked, my forehead is quite big. I was like, you know, this I don't really have like, my breasts are not that far.
we do that. We are very self-critical as humans, and I think, you know, the guise of social media and this kind of selfie generation plays on our own insecurities. And I guess it's, you know, I don't use apps or anything like that, but when people go online, or Plenty of Fish or Grindr or whatever it is they go on, they've filtered the shit out of their pictures, and they're putting up a false representation of who they are, but yet that serves a purpose because it makes them feel validated. And so it's got its place, I guess.
No, but it is interesting that you say that. And I think it's important to also look within ourselves, like GTM says, because that it forced me to kind of look within myself and really affirm those things that you were saying. And when I started to believe it, you know, when you're talking about energy, I started really attracting good things in my life, positive things, positive people. And I'm at a point where, in terms of when it comes to rejection, I now don't ask why I didn't get that thing, or I don't cry about it.
What isn't meant to you will pass you by.
Yeah. And I was like, there's a reason why that thing was not meant for me. And I remember, in terms of like relationships that I had, sometimes I would feel rejected and I would be like, okay, maybe am I not good enough? And it made me realize that wasn't what I was supposed to have.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because we want something now.
Yeah. And I absolutely agree with you, Eve. And I think that if we could filter that kind of mentality into kind of schools, for instance, because, you know, when you have a school test, you either pass or you fail. Mm-hmm. And I feel that the F or the fail should be replaced with not yet. So it's not saying you failed, that's it. It's not yet. You know, why are we teaching kids? Oh, it's because it is the world. It's a dog eat dog, and over the last 20 years, that kind of mentality, eat or be eaten, has got worse. So I think if we can take that and switch it to a not yet approach, because we do all have things we need to go through in order to grow and then benefit the greater good. And I think if we, especially as children, fight so hard for something in a classroom and do a test or whatever, and then we're told, sorry, no, that has a detrimental effect on child's health, because for that exam, you don't know what that child went through. They might have had alcoholic parents. They might have not got no sleep. They might not have the time to study because they're trying to cook for their younger siblings, all these kind of things. And then they're told, sorry, you failed. And they're going to hold that throughout their life. And that might affect them in their job prospects, you know, etc. So I think if we can say, give constructive feedback to children and just say to them, do you know what, it's not yet. Yeah. I think that would be a better approach and that can kind of do wonders for people's self-esteem. I think that's really important.
Oh, that's
you've got a message.
How can you stop rejection affect you if you keep being rejected?
Say that again, sorry.
How can you stop rejection affecting you if you keep being rejected?
And who put that? That's a great question. Who wrote that? I can't see it.
GT.
Who put that? So say it once more. How can you stop feeling rejected if you are constantly rejected? Is that right?
How can you stop rejection affecting you if you keep being rejected?
Okay. Again, look at the areas where you feel you're being rejected, and then, you know, if constantly feeling that, I would say look at where you're not being rejected, because there's always a yin and a yang. You may be feeling that you're constantly being rejected in one area, and maybe that situation isn't meant for you. You're meant for something better. So look, counteract it by looking at what you are being rewarded for or you are given. So if you're being rejected in one area, try and shift your focus to another area where you're not being rejected, or look at what that rejection is trying to teach you. Is it a specific thing? Is it a person? You know, if you feel constantly rejected and your vibration is rejection, if you haven't got the awareness to switch out of it, you're going to keep manifesting the rejection. I know that, you know, very, very well, because I've done various things within my life, as some of you will know. Yeah. And rejection has played a big part in my life. You know, I was adopted, and then I was given away again by my adoptive family, and grew up in a care system, went from various children's homes, had relationships where I was, you know, abused. And I grew up with the feeling of, why me? Why am I being rejected? What have I done wrong? Is it me? Is it my vibration? Is this my karma? And what I came to realize was, if I hadn't have gone through that, I wouldn't be able to serve like I am now, because that's given me a certain amount of experience. And you have to have that negativity or that rejection or that perceived failure in order to realize where you've grown to. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think that's a beautiful story. Like, I wanted to cry when I heard that. You want to get me all emotional.
No, it's all good. We've all got a story. We've all got a story, but it's how we own it. You know, I don't sit there and think, oh, I had an awful childhood. I had this, I had that, because at the same time it was incredible. I don't just look at the negativity, because with all the negativity, there's something to be learned from it. You know. So I think with every rejection, it can make you stronger if you integrate the learning that it's presented you with. Yeah, that's what I think anyway. There's always the learning curve in everything, you know.
Also, rejection is not a bad thing as well. Like, we shouldn't always look at it as a bad thing. And like you said, it's something that we should learn from. And someone put there, I think it's trapped mentality. He spoke about are you being rejected or are you being redirected?
This is very good. And are you being told to mentally move?
I like that.
It's true. It's true. It's perception, isn't it? It's perception. We can see, look at relationships. We've all known someone who are always arguing with their partner, always to be seen to be having a toxic relationship, yet we can sit there and say to that person, do you know what, this isn't working. Yeah. But until and the rejection could be source telling them, you need to mentally move. You need to move away from this to grow as a person. But if we're not seeing that and we're constantly drawn into this toxicity, then it's not really going to be a game changer unless we've got the realization to go, this is what this is. Let's learn, move over, and then the next relationship may be the one for you. That's just an example, but there's always, as I said before, there's always knowledge to be had in rejection. It's never nice, and it's never easy. The amount of auditions, you know, I got down to the last 6 men to play one of the brothers in Hollyoaks in 2012. And I was like, I've got it. No, I haven't. They wanted a guy with slashes in their eyebrows and slashes in their face and a beard and a bit, you know, and you know, tattoos, and I kind of fit the bill completely. And then I didn't get it, but I had to sit with that for a long time. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But it's never nice. It's never nice at the time. You know?
Oh, that thing that you talked about, there's a question here for you. You spoke about failure. Instead of putting failure, the F, it should be not yet. So someone is asking, do you think not yet is a soft approach and may not push the students?
No, I think it's, I don't think it's a soft approach. I guess it depends. It's a difficult one because I guess it's just my opinion, but depending on who you are, a failure, you know, I know people who have failed at something and would never try that again for the fear of failing again. And I think a not yet just means there's a little bit more, because if you failed at something, it could just mean that you haven't quite learned the right steps, or you haven't quite integrated what you need to do. And so it should be, or, you know, not yet. This is what you need to do. You got this in an exam because you didn't investigate X, Y, and Z. So do that, come back and get a pass. And I think, you know, if everyone kind of thought a bit more like that, I think it would create a little bit more of a holistic approach to teaching kids. That's just one example, I guess. But I don't think it's a soft approach, especially when we're living in a time, you know, where we're constantly talking about mental health. There is a gauge, I guess, because you can feel, sorry, how can I put it? I can't explain it. Sorry, you can't. There are different ways to looking at that. You know, some people would really thrive off being told no, and that will make them stronger and want to go for it again. Other people, it will crumble. So I guess it's down to the individual. But I do feel, in terms of rejection, a not yet is a good pass to have.
Yeah, and I think what you say in terms of, like, sometimes it's a drive. With rejection, you know, sometimes it can motivate you, and sometimes it brings on a pain where you kind of now end up avoiding that situation. So you end up not trying again. So if it's a job or it's a business that you want to try, you end up getting rejected by getting that job. So you end up not applying for the job. Whereas some people, they might be rejected and they will be really motivated and they'll go and apply like different places. Like, for example, someone has asked me my experience of rejection and how I overcame it. Do you know, if I could say how many times I've been rejected in all areas of my life.
If you did feel the fear and done it anyway, that's the thing. You feel the fear, do it anyway. But go on, sorry.
But I, like, for me, it was just not feeling like I was good enough, and always just being, you know, always getting a no. Like, even when I finished my first degree, I was looking for a proper job. I couldn't find it. It was always a no. And then after I did my master's, I still, for 1 year, I was looking for a job. I went through like applying an interview after interview. I don't know how many applications I did, and those applications were long, but I was stronger with each application. I was stronger, and I was like, you know what, I am gonna get a job. And once I didn't feel the job that I have now, I didn't feel anything with the other jobs that I applied. With this job that I have, I felt it in my bones, and I felt it so strongly. I came home and I told my husband, that's my job. I've got that job. I was like,
Yeah.
I could feel it. I was like, this is gonna fit in with everything that I'm trying to do in life. And do you know what happened? I got a call.
Right.
And the call was, Eve, unfortunately, you didn't get the job.
What did that teach you, Eve? How did that make you feel?
I was like, okay. At first I was shocked. I was like, in my spirit, I have a very strong spirit. I was like, in my spirit, I even said to my husband, I was like, nah, something must be wrong somewhere. This was supposed to be my job. This was around now November. And I was
Right.
like, oh my days, no. I even stopped looking for a job because I knew this was my job. That's how deep it was. I stopped looking for a job. So I'm there and I'm thinking, oh my days, so what am I gonna do now? So I was like, I have to
So
go
what
back to
did
the
you
drawing
do?
board.
We're all like, oh.
I was like, at first I was like, still in shock. I'm like, are they sure they've got the right name? Then after a while, I was just like, it took me a while to overcome. Then I was like, oh, I need to go back to the drawing board. But then I was like, I didn't feel like I wanted to. For some reason, I
No.
was like, I still believed that was my job. So I didn't bother looking for. In a month, 3 weeks after, I got a phone call. And I
Go on.
asked, oh, hi, Eve. And then they say to me, you know, the
Her
job,
bones lied to her. I love it.
the
Her
job
bones lied to her.
the job that you applied for, would you like to have the job now? And I was like, say what now? So they offered me the job.
So that was it, Eve. That was, sorry to cut you. That's a perfect example of not yet. No.
Yeah,
See, actually, so you've gone from they said no, then they came back and said it's yours. So that was just a not yet.
yeah, but I think my belief also had, like, I felt it in my spirit when you know, this is when I talk about, like, you attract what you believe in. Like, I believed
Absolutely.
so much. I was like, this is the job. Like, for me to be at a point where even the way I felt about the job, I was like, this is the job, this is it. But the rejection obviously was still there. It was hurtful to go to an interview and then to receive a letter and say, oh, some of them don't even call you anyway. So you'll be there waiting for after you've done the application, gone to the interview. And for me, I learned that I don't give up. I don't give up in anything. I really persevere, and that's the type of person that I am. So
Do you know, Eve, sorry, do you know what the story you just said? Do you know what it reminds me of? Is anyone kind of familiar with the story, you know, Oprah Winfrey's story, you know, because cut a long story short, she was abused when she was younger, had a really hard life, and raped by a family member, etc. And she, lo and behold, found the book Colour Purple, read it, was so moved by it, bought bought loads of copies, was handing them out to anyone who'd listen, saying, this story is me, this story is me. And, you know, there was a film being made, and she was told to go and audition for it. And she was so convinced that this role was hers. And then she kind of got told to leave and forget about it, and we'll contact you. And, you know, a few months passed, and she had to try and let it go, because she said, all right, I accept it's not my role. I'll watch the film when it's out, but I'm not going to be able to be happy for the person. And she then sang, you know, about letting it go and letting the situation go and the anger go. And lo and behold, they then that minute rang her up and said, you know, the role's yours. And she was convinced it was hers because the role she went for was her partner in the film, I think, was called Harpo, and Harpo backwards is Oprah.
Oh, wow.
So it's mad, right? Because Oprah, I mean, how many people do you know called Oprah? You know what I mean? So it was written in the stars. But again, she had this belief within her that was hers. And look what happened. She's changed the game, which I know you're going to do. So
Oh,
It's all good.
tell me more. I want to hear more.
Are you gonna do it? Just yesterday, guys, I got a call up. I looked for, you know, about 3 months ago, I was chatting to various people and wanted to pursue a different kind of avenue of support work that I was doing.
Yeah.
Rang up this woman from this agency, told her a bit more about what I do and my experience, and she was kind of like, yeah, that's brilliant, send me an email. Sent her an email, nothing. You know, waited a while, tried to call her back, and they said, yeah, she's just on the phone, she'll call you back. Never got a call back. And then I felt the rejection. I felt, oh my God, what did I do? Of course it's me, it has to be me, nothing ever works out, etc. And this negative self-talk kind of started. And then I kind of let it go and was just like, you know what, it clearly wasn't meant for me. I don't think I was 100% wanting the role anyway. And then lo and behold, yesterday I got her team called me asking if I was available for an interview, which I had a really good chat on the phone. And they said, yep, we've got some more questions to ask the company. We're going to get back to you at 5 o'clock. Nothing. So I'm waiting today. Nothing. So I'm just like, you know what? I feel rejected again. No, I just, you know what? Fuck it. If it's meant to be, it will be. But you know what? It is what it is. But you do get that element of it's not worth it. You're rubbish. You know, we all have it, but then we have to go, I'm the fucking bomb, you know, and know your worth. So again, if it's not meant for you, it'll pass you by. But yeah, great things for you, I can see.
But you know what, it's also a case of when you have when your purpose is great, sometimes
when you're what, sorry?
When your purpose is great, this job that you're going for might not be where you're supposed to be. The kind of work that you're supposed to be doing, maybe this is not the path that you're supposed to be going on. So sometimes you talked about letting go. And I believe letting go of things that if they don't work out, if you're rejected, that's the first thing to overcome rejection, is to just let go of it and just let things flow. Because sometimes we want to force things. We want to be there trying to put things into place when we should just actually just do the work and just let everything fall into place. And I believe when you really believe in something, it will come to pass.
Of course it will. Of course it will. And I think it's evident if we all sit back and look at our younger selves to where we are now, and we take the negativity away from certain things that have happened and look at what has worked. We go, actually, do you know what? There's a link there. I remember chatting to Laura as a 14-year-old, and that girl knows me very, very well. And she kind of, I remember running away from care, and the police were all over the country looking for me. And I was underneath her table, and the police are knocking on her mum's door. Is he there? And she's like, no. And she said to me, you're going to make a difference one day. And I'm not saying lo and behold I did, but I like to think that there was an avenue of possibility there that was challenged and created. And she saw that potential, and I see it in her. And looking back as teenagers back in the 90s, yes, so long ago now, it was a real learning curve. And you can look back on that and go, do you know what? She was right. You know, we were right. You know, but again, confidence plays a big factor in that. And whoever knew of an actor who didn't want to be seen, people go, that can't be right. Or a singer who didn't want to be seen. Yeah. It's bizarre, because you'd want to do the art, but you don't want the shit that comes with it. You know, you want to talk, but you don't want to be judged. So you've got to get to a stage where you're like, I don't give a fuck. You know, and just play full out. And if you push something hard enough, eventually it will break. And I don't mean break in a negative, I mean break through. You know, you will have a breakthrough, you know. And then we can all sit and drink from the fountain of knowledge and crack this shit open. Because we're all here for a purpose. And whether we believe in a higher power or not, for me, you know, 20 million sperm one egg, you've got more chance of winning the lottery than you have a life. So we're all here for a reason. We really are. And, you know, I mean, look at, you know, Madonna with that name. Was she ever just going to work in Wimpy for the rest of her life? No. You know, you've got a purpose. It's whether you're attuned into it, that because when you're vibrationally matched to what you want to do, it will happen, you know, but you've got to do the groundwork.
And I think that's important, because a lot of people, I think a lot of people are scared to go for that kind of move because they fear they'll be rejected in whatever it is they're trying to do. So I sat here one day and I was thinking, do you know what? If all these people can do this, why can't I? Like, we're all human. We've got the same 24 hours in the day. So why can I not do this big things that I keep seeing happening to other people?
Yeah, and it's also within your mind, because we reject ourselves without even realizing it. If we're in a good relationship and we don't feel worthy, we'll sabotage it, and then we'll go, see, I knew I was right. You know, how many times have we heard relatives go, oh, you're not going to do that, are you? And lo and behold, we don't amount to that because we've been conditioned to think that. So we kind of sometimes sabotage our own successes in order to validate our negativity, because sometimes our ego plays out, and the ego isn't wrong. The ego is there. It's there for protection, but we can kind of manifest certain patterns of behavior within our lives that we're addicted to subconsciously. So how many times have we heard a relative go, how are you? And they go, oh, the world's terrible and it's awful and my life's a mess and it's just so bad. Well, what are you doing about it? Nothing, because it's just not worth it. I just can't do it. Well, you've just confirmed it to yourself. We know them. We've had that, but the difference is we have that moment, and I had it even 2 days ago. I sat there and I was just like, oh, you know, what the fuck? I've got no motivation to do anything, and you know, I feel everything I try and do doesn't work. We all have them thoughts, but the difference between someone who has them thoughts and let it pass and realize it's not you, you know, to the people who don't, is again self-awareness. And if you're constantly in a place of victimization and feeling unworthy and really believing that program, it will keep playing out until you take a stop to it, you know.
So we've got a few comments.
Laura, breakdowns lead to breakthroughs, balance, believing. Absolutely. And right back at you, Laura. She's such an incredible person. She's an artist, she's a producer, and she's a light soul. She knows, you know, her heart is up in the Milky Way somewhere. She's definitely a starseed, and she at times lacks confidence in herself. We all do, but you know, we're all here to learn how to curb that inner voice. And it's a lot of that inner voice, the negative inner voice, is your inner child asking for attention. It's asking you to go, hi, I'm here. And I always say to my clients, you know, when they're coming to me with negativity or with distrust in their own ability, I always say, what would you say to your 11-year-old self? What would you say to yourself? And they go, oh, I couldn't say anything. I'm like, no, listen, if you're feeling this right now, what would you say to your 11-year-old self? And they all say, not to worry. It's okay. It's going to be okay. So fast forward however many years, and now look in the mirror and tell that to yourself. And that, by even confirming that it's going to be okay, changes your vibrational state. And guess what? Sky's the limit again. So we all have these dips and troughs, you know. But it's about being able to sit with it and then take ourselves or lever out of it.
Yeah, that's, you know. No, I definitely agree with that statement. Breakdowns lead to breakthrough. The road to your dreams isn't straight, direct, or smooth. Oh, tell me about it. I know it's hard. Like everything we're trying to do now is hard, but it's still amazing at the same time. And sometimes we want to give up, but then we start remembering why we're doing what we're doing. And I get satisfaction from that. So do you guys have any questions? Any more questions? We've got about 5 minutes left. So
bring those questions. Bring those questions.
so while we wait, are you gonna sing for us?
No,
I'm
not.
Started.
Come on, you start it. Come on.
What you gonna sing?
I don't know.
I'm not liable for anybody's screen yet. Breaking.
No, I'm not going to sing. That's another podcast. Trust me. That's another podcast.
So
I did a gig once. I did a gig once, a small gig, and there's about 20 people there, and I rolled up and there was all these drunk people in tents. It was my friend's back garden, right? But he lives on an estate, not a council estate. He's got a manor house and an estate. And I was like, "Hello, Glastonbury!" And they kind of just looked at me like I was mad. And that was the last gig I ever did, actually. So yeah, it shows how good that one went.
Aww.
But no, I'm not going to sing. Not today. Not today. You sing. You can sing.
No, I can't. What would you say to your 11-year-old self? I think that's what it says. Yeah.
Who? Me or Eve or both?
You mentioned something about.
What would I say to my 11-year-old self? That's a good question. What would I say to my 11-year-old self? Fucking get on with it. No, I wouldn't really. I would just say, you know, you are loved. You are loved. I think that I would have said that to my 11-year-old self. I would have said, you are loved. You know, both. Oh, there you go. I would have said, you are loved, and the road to hell is paved with good intentions. No, I wouldn't have said that. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I would have said you are loved, and just keep committed to what you want to do, because you know, losing focus and starting something and not finishing it. I would have said to my 11-year-old self that you are loved, and just to go with confidence, because you are stronger than what you think. I think. What would you have said to your 11-year-old self, Eve?
I actually did this exercise a while back where we had to, one person closes their eye and then the other one comes and says all the things that they wanted to hear as a child. And for me, the 11-year-old, I would say, you're loved, you're amazing, you're wonderful, you are the world, you mean something to someone, you are happiness, you are joy, you know, you attract everything good. You're an amazing human being. That's what I would tell myself.
Listen, amen. It's all good. It's all good. And I think it's important to even still have that conversation with your inner child, because, you know, like they say that, you know, but by the time you're 4 years old, your first and secondary emotions are kind of made. You know, if you're constantly abused from a parent at 4 years old, that can obviously manifest and play out your whole life. And I think what we've got to do, if you are on a spiritual tip and you understand kind of energy, when we give our power away or it's been taken away, you know, we have to call it back. So we have to call these soul fragments back, because, for instance, how can I put it? Say, for instance, you're really promiscuous and you have sex with a lot of people. You're letting your energy, you're giving your energy away to someone else, and if you don't know their state or how they've played out, you're ingesting their energy and their karma and their issues. Okay, so you have to then kind of put a block to it, and if you're in that realization, you can kind of call soul fragments back and do some healing work like that. If you're not on that tip, and you don't believe that, then I guess it's just, you know, having awareness and self-talk around, you know, those kind of things. But I think, yeah, talking about soul fragments is interesting. That's another story, because that can get really deep. Yeah. We're learning around soul fragments. I'm like, what, really? And that goes into kind of talking about like illness. For instance, if you've got cancer that runs in the family, people can say, oh, it's hereditary. My mum had it, my nan had it, and then. But then you can say, you know, as someone who's talking from a different area can say that might be karmic. You know, you might be having manifest illness in the body, but it might not be yours you're holding. It might be your nan or her issues or something that's come, you know, through generations back, and it's a karmic energetic thing that needs to be rewired. Do you know what I mean?
And I think
that's interesting.
Like, that's important to address. I think we should address that in a different topic, because
yes,
people,
definitely.
they start saying, oh, it's family curses, or passed down through generations, but they don't understand the impact of how family generations can have on each individual. So I think that's a good thing to highlight. Okay, guys, we've come to the end. Is there any more questions?
Says who? I was just getting started. I'm just kidding.
No, honestly, yeah, thank you so much, Carl. I would love to have you back again here at Mentally Move. How did you find that?
I hope that's answered some questions for people. But just to leave on the point that, you know, whatever you think, okay, whatever you think, you're probably right.
And so if someone wants to get in touch with you, do you have like...
Yes, so literally you can contact me on here, ask more about what the work I do. So you can contact me on here or via email. I can put my email in the link later, and we can continue talking. That would be amazing, because it would be good to touch base with some of you. But yeah, I appreciate the time, and I hope that's been able to kind of give you food for thought, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely, and I'd definitely love to have you back. So we'll arrange something. Got something in the works for you guys, so
definitely. We're going to be doing a podcast, aren't we, at some point?
Yeah. All right. Since you've no goodbye song, should I try one more time?
You won't get me singing. I'm just kidding. Not today, anyway. Not today. Oh, there's no more questions.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you, guys. Great discussion. Oh, bless you. Listen, thank you all guys for tuning in, and just to remember, we're all disciples of love, and just put your best foot forward every time, you know, and if you keep being honest with yourself, you'll attract that within your matrix, for sure.
And guys, if you're struggling with anything to do with confidence, please do send us an email or something, and we could arrange a workshop for you guys in terms of, you know, life coaching and confidence, and we could do it over Zoom. So if it's something that you'd be interested in, drop your email or reach out to us, me, myself, or Carl, or Trapped Mentality. So
my email, I'll just say, is Carl Leroy 1301 at gmail.com, and that is 2 L's.
And your Instagram?
My Instagram, Carl Leroy 13. That's for now. But my Instagram will be changing, and it will be I am Skybound. And if you want to find out more, it will be www.iamskybound.co.uk. That will be live within the next few weeks.
I look forward to it. All right, thank you guys. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye, guys. Bye.
How do you end this thing?